Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of my FileMaker series on tutorials for beginners. So today what we're going to do is now we started this the other day. This was the Salon Vanoise, the original one that we were doing. So what I want to do is today I want to change it just a little bit. I want to create something cool. So I had a lot of questions like, how could I use this in my house? I mean, how would this be effective for my house? Well, let's just say, for instance, let's take a very quick and easy, painless thing. Let's say you have a storage unit or a storage shed on your property, or a pantry or something of that nature, and you have a bunch of boxes, and you want to track what's inside of those boxes. You want to know, I just packed a bunch of stuff. Now you do have to physically put in the data of what you want or what's inside of that box, but it's relatively a simple process to do. So the first thing that we're going to do is we can create with lines. So if you wanted to create a bunch of lines, let's create a line really quick. Let's see, we'll get this to be 0. If you remember, we wanted this to be 0. Get it just right. Come on. Get there. My goodness, my mouse is just touchy. Okay. So now that we have this line, we can make it whatever color that we want. Right now it's kind of a gray color, so let's make it a beautiful blue color. And now if we click off of it, you can see it's a beautiful blue color. And we can move it until it's like perfect right in the center. And then if we want to, we can highlight it, press and hold the control button, and we can move more of them. So we can be like, well, here's one here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to replicate shelves. So let's say that you have a bunch of different shelves. So here now we have these different shelves, and these buttons can actually be what's actually on the shelf and where it's located on the shelf. Line them all up, nice and pretty. So, and then of course we can rename them. So this button could be like box C34. Now the cool thing is you can have these so that, and you can write this on the box, you know, like let's say you've got a cardboard box and it's sitting on a shelf, and you could be like, this one is C34. So this one would be C35. But obviously I want to put box in front of it because I'm just that way. And the cool thing is if you ever move these boxes anywhere, you can all you gotta do is grab the box and move it, right? So this one we will call box C36. And these other ones we're not too worried about, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of move them around just so they look better, so they're in a better position. And the cool thing is we can move these anywhere that we decide we want to move them. Now, if you want to, you can also take and draw a line the opposite direction. So if I wanted to draw a line and go this way, now this time we're looking for the top. If you saw when I was holding on to it, there was a W and then a top, and that has to be the 0. So the top number has to be 0 in order for it to be straight. And this one, we're obviously going to make it, we're going to make it that same color of blue, and we're going to change it to 2 points because that's just how we are. And so this one we can do the same thing, just control and move it wherever we want to. So now you can see what we're doing. What we're doing is we're building the shelving unit. What the shelving unit looks like, so that when we go in there we can say, okay, we know what's in there. We know, you know, there's 3 shelves or 4 shelves or 5 shelves or whatever the case might be. And the cool thing is you can, if these aren't long enough, you can always just grab it and then just elongate it. And as you can tell, we're looking at that top number, and it said 0, so we're good to go. And you can elongate them, and the cool thing is, if you do elongate them, you can make them the same size as well. So if you go into your inspector and you look at the position, that's what we're looking for, is the position. If you click on that one, it'll tell you what height it is. Its width is 0, its height is 440. And you click on this one, and this one's 486. And this one's 414. That's what I meant to say, 414. 486. So this one, all we got to do is just click on this and then change this to 486. And click off of it. And ta-da, it's now longer. Did you notice how that just happened? So we just changed it. And if you wanted to, you could also grab these. You could just run a thin hair down them like this. And if we go into our field inspector and we go into the position, we can actually align them on vertical centers. And the cool thing is in this one, we can distribute them vertically. So they're all the same vertical height if we want to. So we click that. You notice it changed just slightly, but it did change. And now what we're going to do is we need to build something so that we know what's inside these boxes. We've got to know what's inside of that box, right? Well, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. One is you could just create a window, and you could open a window and just type in a bunch of text. That would be just fine. You could you could have it a popover and just type in a bunch of text. And I'll show you two different ways of doing it. So the first one is to create a popover. Well, if you click this, what you can do is you can come to this up all the way up here at the top, and it says here, create a popover, a button or a popover. We'll just create a popover. We're gonna make it the exact same size as this one. And we're going to call this popover, let's just do this one, we'll call this one box A13. And it doesn't have to say popover in there, so I'm just going to get rid of that because I'm not a big fan of the popover saying popover. So now I'm going to grab this box and move it down here. And as you can tell, see how it's just got this box here? Now I can make this box as big as I want to. And I can change the color of the box and the color of the fill. So right now it's a solid color. And I can just make it into, if I wanted to, I could just make it into a white background or a white line around it or whatever I wanted to. This is obviously just the line. The fill, it says it has no fill. But I could make that fill, let's pick a color, green. And now it's green. So the fill can be whatever you want it to be in your popover. If you want it to be white, then just select white and it'll be white, and then you can just type in there. So at this point we can come in and we can grab text and we can just start typing. We can say there's the silverware, and you can say spoons, knives, and forks. And then if you just press the enter button, it'll create a new line. And you can type in, this one also has, I don't know, let's say wine glasses. And you can click, just press enter and it'll go to the next line. Now I know you guys can't read this, so what I'm going to do really fast is I'm going to change the color. And unfortunately, in order to do that, I kind of have to do it like this. So for this color, I'm going to change it to a dark black. I'm going to make it larger so that we can read it. So we'll make it 18. And it doesn't need to be bold, so we're just good with that. And now you guys can see what it says. And we can move it. The cool thing is I can move this wherever I want to. So if I want it to be up here, I can do that. It's pretty simple. So it works really well for your house stuff. and you can just go in and erase whatever you want to. So it's pretty great. So this one has, I'm going to say this one has napkins, linens, assorted cups, and I'm going to say this one's coffee cups. So we'll just do that, and we can just go in and just list and list and list and list and list and put every single thing that you want in there, every single thing you want in there. And if you click off of it and you click back onto this, you can size it to whatever size that you want. So let's say that that's all that's in that box, so we can just size it to that. And we can also say where we want it to appear. So if we want it to appear above the box, that's fine. If we want it to appear left or right or whatever the case might be, we can do that as well. But if we click off of this, now we can come in, and if you notice, I'm going to close this. In this box, see how the lettering is different? So in this box, if you remember correctly, we were using Engraver's Gothic, and in this box we were using 36. So here all we've got to do is just go to 36, right? See, I don't know what I did that for, but let's go to 36. And now that box looks the same, but it's still different. It's different, right? So it needs those rounded corners. So we're going to have to grab our field inspector. We're going to come over here, and I hope you guys can see this. And we're going to go into our appearance. And in our appearance, we have, remember the buffers, where the pad, it's called padding, but it's the padding on the sides. You can change that to 0 if you want to. But what we're looking for here is the corner radius. And if you remember on the last one, I think we went to 5 on the corner radius. So if you click on this one, it says 5 corner radius. And this one will also say 5 corner radius. Now the color is different. So if you wanted to make this color like nothing, if you wanted to just, mine, I actually, in the one above it, there's no color. But there is a line around it. And so I like my line to be a lighter color, so I'm going to just make it a lighter color. Ta-da, and there it is. And if you remember correctly, these other ones also have shadows. So if you really wanted to add the shadow, you can do that. Just look at my last video and you can see that. USA, how are you? It's so good to see you. So now when you click on this button, if we exit the layout and you click on this button, notice when I went to the button how it changes the color. And it'll automatically tell me what's in that box, just instantaneous. Now, in order for me to change it, I actually have to edit the layout in order to change it. So I can't change this at all. I can't do anything with this. This is locked in there. So if I were to take something out of this box, I'm kind of stuck, right? I mean, I have to come in, go to edit layout, and make that change and do, you know, there's a lot of things I have to do, right? Well, let's figure out a better way or another way. Let's figure out another way to achieve the same goal, but a little bit different. So let's go to, we're going to edit our layout. We're going to manage our database. Now, we're going to have a mother box. Let's just say that. We'll have a mother box, one giant box, and that is our table. And so we're going to call this this table, let's just call it boxes. And we will create it. Now currently it has no fields, but unfortunately we need to, it's not as easy as it looks. It's a little more complicated, but we can do this. So let's do something really cool, right? So what we want to know is the stuff that's inside the boxes. So we're going to say our first mama box we're going to call boxes, and the next one we're going to call stuff, and we'll create that. And now if we double click on our boxes, you can see we have nothing there. So let's just say let's create a few fields to go inside of these boxes. So one of the fields that we're going to need is we're going to need a, let's just say a box number, and we'll make that, it can be a text. It can be a text. Text is just fine. I would highly recommend a text unless you're very specifically going to just use numbers. So we'll just create that as a text. Now this, you guys have heard me 1,000 times say IDs are not required. Well, here they kind of are required. So we're going to go ahead and create an ID, and that's going to be a number, and we'll create it. And now our ID is on creation. It's actually a serial number, I'm sorry, not on creation, because we don't need the creation date. And it doesn't matter, it says on creation here, but it doesn't matter if you want the value to be 1 or you want it to be 100 or whatever it is. We use this ID to generate an IDFK so we can create a link. That'll make sense in just a minute. Just follow me with this. I promise you guys will be like, wow, okay, that really makes sense. So this is very much for the beginner, and it's very much very simple. Let's just make this very simple, right? So we now have a box number and an ID. Do we need anything else? No, we don't. So let's go to our stuff. And in our stuff, what we need, one of the first things we need is in what we call an IDFK. And that's a foreign key, and we're using that to link to, it'll make sense in a minute, but we're using that to link to our other table. So this one is a number, and we'll go ahead and create it. Now what we want to know is the stuff that's in the box. So do you want to know a date that you put it in the box, or a date that you took it out of the box? Do you want to know if it has a category to it? Do you want to know what information do you want? If the only information that you want is an identifier, like a description, then just put in description. That's all you got to do. Description. But boy, do I need to learn how to spell, or what? Description. Okay, so if we do a description, it obviously needs to be a text, and we're going to create that. Now, if there's any other information that you might need, don't hesitate to go ahead and put that in there. But you may need like an item, you may need like some sort of an item number, because in order to identify the different, every time you go to a different item, we're going to need an item ID. So the item ID doesn't matter. We don't really care about it. We have to put it in the script, because we need to be able to separate the items. That's as simple as it gets, okay? So in order to separate items, we need an item ID. So we're just going to type in item ID, and you know what, let me put an underscore there, just because so it will look cool. And this one will be a number, and we'll create it. And the item ID is it's going to be just a serial number, and it doesn't matter what it is, but just create an auto enter serial number. No big deal, right? No big deal. Okay. Now that we've done this, now comes the hard part. Oh my goodness, you guys are probably going, what in the heck is Tim doing? So let's go to the relationships tab. And now we have our boxes, and we have our stuff. And we have Salon Vanoss over there. Well, we need to take our boxes, and we need to get them as far away from the Salon Vanoss as we can get them. So we're just going to bring them over here. We're just being silly, actually. So if we highlight the ID on the boxes part, and then we press and hold our mouse clicker button, which should be on the left side, right? And then we just drag it over to the IDFK and then let go of it. It will now create a relationship between those two. And here where it says the equal sign, we have to double click on that, because currently it will not allow the creation of records and or the deletion of records in either one of those. And you really only need to allow the creation of records via this table. That's all you really need. And we'll say okay. And so if you want to, you can grab both of these, and you can say, you know, I really want to change the color because I'm feeling kind of purple, and so I want them to be purple. So I know that they're both related to each other. And that's fine. You can do that. That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. And we can bring them back over here so Salon Vanoss does not feel very lonely or completely lonely. We don't want Salon Vanoss to be very lonely. But this is probably one of the only relationships I'll tell you to make, because you need to be able to create a relationship for a reason. In this reason, it'll become very evident very quick. So we now have our tables. We have 3 tables. We now have fields, and we now have relationships. And we'll say OK. Now, one of the things that we want to do is we want to go to, do you guys remember our template that we made? Do you guys remember the template? So let's go in and we'll manage our layouts. And we've got this, right now we've got what's called a boxes and a stuff. And what's weird is if you click on this and then you tell it to open it, look what happens. Isn't that insane? That's crazy, right? So it's really like just a blank thing. So what are you going to do with that, right? Because you need to do something with it, because otherwise it's just going to confuse you. So the very first thing I'm going to tell you to do is uncheck them. Uncheck them. Because now they're not available. If I come over here and I click on this and this little drop down, you wouldn't see them. They're not going to be there. So they're not going to confuse you. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create something new. I'm going to say new. I'm going to click on the little side, and I'm going to say folder. Folder. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says new. So if you click on new and the little drop down, just select folder. And this is going to be, I use the term CNew, stuff I never use. So if you want to, you can do CNew, or you can just use stuff I never use, or junk file, or whatever, and that's fine, and just create it. And now that we have this, we can uncheck it. It doesn't matter. And if we grab this, if we go up to here to where this is, and let me just move this over here so maybe you guys can see a little better. But if we go over here to where the boxes and stuff are, you can see you can grab it and pull it down into the CNew. And the same stuff with the stuff. Grab it and bring it over here and just drop it into CNew. Because now it's not really in the layout category, it's just kind of there. And we'll say, okay, so we're good to go with that. And we can just go ahead and say, okay. But first and foremost, let's grab our template page and duplicate that page. And then edit that page. And we're going to call this page, boxes. And now what we want to do is, here it says Salon Vanoss. So show records from Salon Vanoss. Well, no, we don't. We want to show records from boxes. Right? And you can save the records automatically. You can delineate the fields as records. It doesn't matter. None of the rest of the stuff matters. Just the big thing is the layout name, boxes. Simple. And the records show records from boxes. And then you can say, okay. Now we now have a new layout, and it's called boxes. It's pretty cool. And we'll go ahead and close this. Now we're still on our beginning, but if we come into here and we go up to here to our layout, our little layout thing, you'll see Salon, template page, boxes, and then CNew. I don't know why it's showing me that. Oh, because I'm still in edit layout mode. So if I wasn't in edit layout mode, so let's exit the layout. Now come over here. Now it just says Salon, template page, and boxes. Okay, so let's go to our boxes. And as you see, this is all it is. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. So we can get rid of these. So let's just get rid of those. Oh, dang it. You know, I should have saved that. I wonder if you can Control Z. You can Control Z. Remember that. If you did erase something and then you remembered, I don't really want to erase that. There you go. You can save it. So I'm going to take this because I need it over there. But these two I don't need. Now this security box, there is, if we double click on it, it'll say, specify the field. Well, if you go into current field, it'll say box number or the ID. So you can create this as a box number if you want to. So this, remember the security box that's down here at the bottom? We're just going to make that into box number. So now it's at least relevant to what we're doing. Now we did not put a date in, so we don't really need a date. We can just delete it. Actually, let's bring this box number up here because I want to see it. I want to see it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it all the way to that side. I'm going to make it 24, and I'm going to change the color to a yellow, or better yet, a beautiful blue, because I like blue. And this line, I'm going to change the line to a darker blue. This line to a darker blue. So now we have this. And you guys are like, what is this? What are we doing here? Well, let me tell you what we're going to do here. Let's grab, we have something here called a portal tool. So grab the portal tool, just click on it, and then come down here and just create a large box. Just a large box, just like that. Bam! Now, it'll say show related records from. That's the very first thing it says. If you click this little arrow, stuff. Now, you can sort the records if you want to, but you don't have to. It doesn't matter. In this particular one, but you do need to allow vertical scrolling, especially if you've got a lot of things that you're going to put in this box, right? And you can allow deletion of portal records if you want. You can allow the deletion of portal records. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't actually matter even if you click this, because you can delete them without deleting them, if that makes any sense. So let's just say, okay. Use active row state. Now it wants to know, what do we need? What do we want over there? So let's move remove the item ID and the description, and we'll just say okay. And now what it'll do is, see what it does? It gives you this giant item ID thing right here. Giant. It's giant. And then here's your description. Little bitty thing. So what we can do with this is we can make the item ID very small, and we can make the description very large. And if you want, if you think that maybe the box is a little bit too big, you can shorten it this way, but that's all you can do. If you try to use this and go the other way, the asymptotic movement of it, which means it moves on quite a curve, it'll just whoosh, it'll really mess with you, so don't move that. But if you want to just tighten it in a little bit, that's fine, you can do that. And now we can grab this box and we can move it. And we can, now what we can do is if we go to our, if we edit our, or exit our layout, what you'll see is this. So there's nothing here. And if you remember, the reason why is because, the reason why there's nothing here is because there's no records. We haven't actually created a record yet, right? So if we come into here and we create a record by just doing new record, voila, we now have a new record. And we can actually start to create stuff. So here in this thing, and notice I'm not on edit layout. I can type in forks, and I can press the enter, or let's not press the enter. Let's press backspace. And if we go to the second one, we can type in spoons. And we can go to the third one, and I think tab will just take you to the next one. So yeah, tab will just take you to the next one. And this one can be knives, where you could just keep going down, and it'll just keep giving you these numbers. It'll just automatically fill in those numbers, and that's what we want. We want it to give you those numbers. And so, as you can tell right now, there's nothing that it will do. But if we take, let's do this really quick. Let's grab, let's edit our layout. And let's create a very tiny button. button. And so if we, and I can show you guys how to do this differently as well. So let me show you how to do this a little bit differently. let me just get there. So because I'm kind of a big making things different, so we're in edit layout mode. Let's push I had to push the little picker thingy, so I'm going to pick this and delete it. And then I'm going to grab my portal roll tool again, and this time I'm going to make a shorter one. Very much shorter. See how much shorter it is? It's not very long, because I'm going to show you guys how this works. And it's from stuff, and we're going to allow vertical scrolling, and we're going to say OK, and then we need the item ID and the description. If you just double click on them and say OK, then here they are. Now, if we were to grab this bottom thing, watch what happens. See how it moves like crazy? It moves like crazy, right? And so if we grab this, we can then change it to like 18. And we can grab this one and we can change it to like 18. So now they're bigger and we can actually read them, right? And we can grab this and we can make it a little bit smaller. We don't want it to be too small because this has to fit inside. Let's grab this and move it down here just for a second so we can find the dead center. It's kind of important that this thing fits in here. Okay, we found the center. Now we're still going to make the ID number small, and we're still going to make the description big. And the ID you can have centered on, or you can push it all the way over there, and the description you can push it all over there. But what we want is a button. So I'm going to create a little button. And this button is going to be, we just want it to delete it, or we want it to get rid of. So we can either write delete or whatever the case is. And right now we don't want it to do anything. We just want it to delete. We just want to say delete. Now what we will tell it to do in just a minute is we'll tell it to, it can just do a single step. And because if you come over here and you just type in delete, it'll say delete portal row. Yes. And that's all you need. Just delete portal row. And you can say OK. Now the only thing that it will delete is that portal row. Just that one portal row. And so now that we have this, and we can grab it, and we can move it wherever we want. We can grab our little button and move it wherever we want. I'm just going to put it like right here because I can. Okay. So we need to, let's exit the layout. So here we have forks, and we don't want the forks. Permanently delete this record. Yes. And we took the knives out, so we don't want the knives in there anymore. But we do have, we put in some dishes. And we put in some cups. Oop. What's it doing? Cups. Okay. You kind of see where we're going with this. And it will just create new records all the time. It'll just create as long as you want. And you can use this scroll button because it will scroll if you have enough records for it to scroll. That's kind of the big deal. But now that you're here and you're going, well, okay, how do I get back to this particular, how do I get back to here? Well, in this particular case, we have, in our field picker, we have the ID number for this box. So we can grab this ID number and we can bring it out here. And I don't know why I just did that, but let's bring it, let's put it someplace where it's not quite as visible. And if we exit the layout, it should say ID 1 or whatever number that you want. Now in here, you have to actually label the box. So do you guys, can you remember the box number that we had in our last one? Was it A13? A13. So you can type in A13. That will be your box, right? That's the box number. Now this button, what we want this button to do is we want it to perform a single step. And that single step is we just want it to go back to the layout that we were at. And the original layout is actually going to be our, I think we were doing it on Salon Vanoss, right? Or Salon Vanoss, yeah. So Salon Vanoss. So now if we exit the layout and we have our box and we go back to, we push our button, it takes us back to A13. But A13 isn't going to take us to, it's not going to, if we push this button, it's not going to take us anywhere, right? So let me grab this button. Let me grab a new button. Edit the layout. Or actually what we wanted to do is C34, didn't we? We wanted to do C34. Dang, burned it. All right, let's go back to our boxes page. C34. Okay. Now we can go back. C34. So now on our C34 button, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it what to do. Right? We're going to tell it what to do. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we have to tell it to perform a script. And we're going to put right here in this optional thing, we're going to put C34. Actually, let's not do that. Let's delete that. Because what we want to do is we want to create the script first, right? So, contents underscore box. Contents, boxes. Okay. So the first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to set a variable. And just follow along. And this variable is going to be box. We're going to call it box. And we're going to specify it. And what it's going to be is it's going to be get script parameter. Get script parameter. That's a pretty easy one to remember. There, we're finally getting to the X's, or the get script parameter. Okay, and we'll say okay. Now we have the box number. So then what we need to do is we need to go to a layout, right? So let's go to a layout. This is, you guys, this is like the most simple thing that you will ever do. This is like the most simple. So we're going to say go to the layout, and the layout that we want to go to is the boxes layout. And now what we want to do is we want to find that box. We're going to find that particular box. Okay. So we do need to enter find mode. So let's just come in here and we'll say enter find mode, and we'll press exit. We don't want it to pause. And you can put this find request in there if you want to, but please don't. It's not a good idea. So we'll enter the find mode. Now, what you can do here is just click on this in the white space and type in FRRE or FREE, freeze window, because we wanted to freeze the window here before we go to the layout. Freeze the window so we're not really looking for it. So we're going to enter the find mode, and then we're going to set a field. And the field that we want to set is it's going to be in our, on our boxes, and it's going to be the box number, right? And the calculated result is going to be $box. Because remember, we set the variable as $box. Whenever you set a variable, unless it's a global variables have $2. And we'll just say, okay. And so now it's going to set that field, and then it's going to perform the find. So we need to just tell it perform find, and we're done. That's it. At this point, you can just say halt script if you want. This one is such a simple script. I don't believe that you would need to halt the script, but you certainly can. You can also tell it to go to a specific field or do whatever you want to. So we'll say halt script. and we'll call that good. So we'll say okay. Now that we are here, we need to, the script parameter, now we need to put in the C34 and say okay. And change cursor to hand. Cursor to overhand. And we'll call that good. So now if we exit our layout and we push this button, it'll take us to this page. But let's just test this. Let's test it. I got to give you guys a test, right? Let's see if it works. Let's create a new record. New record, and this time we're going to say this one is C35. Shh, don't tell anybody that we called this one C35. Now, here we're going to say this is... this has crime novels, and it has the Bible in it. Oop. The Bible in it. And this one has washcloths. And it has old jeans. Playing cards. Video games. Time clock. I'm just adding these so you guys know. Time clock. And now, see how it's not going to do anything for me? So I have to push the tab button to get to the next level. You have to. If you've already filled this, you have to push the tab button. Okay? And then it has an alarm clock. And it has, and now we can, come on. There we go. Up. And press tab and tab. And this one would be shoes. So there we go. Now we have all these things in there. And you can see, if you go through this, you can see that they're all there, every single one. And we just I wanted to show you guys that you could do that, right? And so now if we go back to our button, in our C35, we don't have a script, right? Yes, we do. Let's click on the C35. Let's edit the layout, I'm sorry. Go to C35, double click it. We're going to tell it to perform a script. And that script is going to be content boxes, because remember, we just wrote that one. And then on our optional script parameter, we want to write C35. Say OK. Change cursor to overhand. So now, if we exit our layout, here's our solution. We go to C34. Here's C34. Back up. Go to C35. There's C35. And let's say we took the Bible out of here so we can just delete it. Now it's not in this box anymore. It's pretty simple. I hope that this is what I've done for you today, is just give you some ideas, some creative ability, something that might spark an idea in you to create something that's totally cool. Because this is, although one of the most basic features of a creation, of creating files, it is very useful for doing all kinds of things. So if it's not just doing a box, you just don't want to like know everything that's in a box, that's fine. You can do it, as I showed you, there's a couple of different ways of doing it, a couple of different ways of doing different things. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it a great deal, because I have definitely enjoyed it. Hairspray, no. Hairspray, no. So stay tuned for the next show. The next show, I'm sure I'll be giving one out here in a few days. We're going to continue on this Salon Vanoss for a couple more days or a couple more episodes. And all I want to do is I just want to build. I'm not building anything. I'm just showing you guys how to do it. You guys leave comments below and let me know what your thoughts are. What is it you're looking for in a solution? Because what I'm trying to do with this is I'm trying to teach just everybody that I can, not just small business owners. Small business owners are definitely the people, because I'm a small business owner and I've created some of the most amazing solutions you can even think about for small businesses, and I've enjoyed doing them. I have enjoyed doing them, but like my wife asked me the other day, well, can we do a FileMaker thing for because once you buy the program, you own the program. Why not put it to use? I mean, you certainly can. You don't have to do just business. If you want to do something for your house, you can definitely do that as well. And then just as a new solution, obviously, but this will give you that ability. So you can just say what's in the boxes. And if you want to add things to the boxes, you can add things to the boxes. If you want to take them away, take them away. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do, it's 100% up to you. And you saw how easy it was. So keep that in mind. It's pretty simple. But great things take time. And so you have to build those things. But anyway, till the next time, guys, thank you so very much for watching me. I so appreciate you guys being here. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I need all the subscribers I can get. My goodness, I've got 308 already. That's pretty cool. I'm very excited to have you with me. You guys are the reason why I do it, because I want to help you if I can. When I was doing it, I found a lot of people wanted to charge me an arm and a leg to get something, or they wanted to send me to Udemy or some other thing where I had to pay $49.95 to take a class and learn how to do it. And to me, I want to show you how to do it so that you can do it, so that you know what you're doing, so that you feel comfortable doing it. And that's my purpose, because as small business owners and as human beings, we need to save every single dollar we can. But we do appreciate you guys, and we do appreciate, like, if you guys feel like you want to throw a couple bucks my way, that's fine. I do appreciate that as well. Or if you want to buy one of my programs, you can also do that as well. So and I do have a couple of them. So anyway, we'll see you guys later. You guys are amazing. Thanks. Until next time, don't forget, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.